So I started learning trading as a complete beginner back in October the 5th, 2022. And now in 2023, your boy is officially funded. And that was by passing a prop firm challenges. That's why today I'm going to talk to you guys about exactly how I did it, exactly what I wish I could have done better if I had to do all of this again, to possibly speed up the entire process and to definitely lose less money in the process. So the first thing I remember learning about was support and resistance. When you type in trading, especially like a strategy or how people make money, most of the time the beginner strategy is usually support and resistance because it's super easy to understand. Now I was able to learn this through YouTube University, which is completely free, but the key thing to note here is that it was YouTube and it was support and resistance. So in short, support and resistance is basically when you have a point where price struggles to break, and that's the resistance at the top, and when you have the bottom, that is going to be support, and this is when you have several points where the candle continues to touch and price does not break through that zone. That is known as a support. So the simple idea is that you wait for price to get to the resistance and you sell, and then you wait for price to get to support and you buy, and you hope that you can at least just make some money throughout that movement. So learning support and resistance was actually good, but it wasn't in the right order. That shouldn't be the first thing I should have learned, because there's a lot more important things that come before just going straight to the strategy without even knowing much about what trading is about, what lot size is, what does pips even mean, how does the market even move, what does trading even mean in the first place, rather than just trying to make money by just pressing buy and sell whenever price gets to a specific point. And now learning on YouTube was not a bad idea at all. In fact, I recommend this to most people because YouTube almost has everything you need to learn. Most people have their courses pretty much all on YouTube anyway. Like literally, if you can learn through YouTube, then you will. Courses and stuff is just more for those who probably need a bit more help or just don't really understand what the person is talking about. But most of the time, everything you need is on YouTube. That is how I started. That is exactly how I've been learning even up till today. So don't waste your money on courses for at least, I would say, the first few months anyway. Now, after learning about support and resistance for about a week, I went straight into live trading. Now, this was what I did. This is not what I recommend. I'll get into exactly how I recommend you should do all of this if I had to start again. But this was what I did. I went straight to live trading, and this was a bad idea because immediately on my first trade, I literally lost about 20% of my account immediately. And this was because I did not even know what lot size was. So I deposited about $500 into one of those brokers that will give you 50% on top of your deposit. So I had about $750 and I was excited. And then I decided to just slap one lot because one just sounds like a good number. And this just went horribly. Now, after about a month or so, I joined a YouTuber's Telegram group because he was promising that his strategy is extremely simple. It still uses support and resistance. So I had an idea what that was. And you're sort of buying and selling, and you kind of just go with the flow. So this was what I did, and this was good, but I'm glad that it didn't work out for me. For some reason, it works out when they do it, but for me in the Telegram group, even though I took every trade that he says and stuff, I was just losing money. It just wasn't working for me personally. And obviously, I'm glad it didn't, because if it did, I might have been too comfortable in that Telegram group. But eventually, I had to move on from this after spending so much money staying in the Telegram group in the first place. And of course, I was trading live at this point. So this was just a waste of time and money. Also, you just don't want to rely on somebody when you're trading, because really and truly, what happens if something happens to that person? If you have no idea how to trade yourself, if that person passes away, just stops trading, which many people have done, does that mean you're gonna become poor? Your family becomes broke? You just have no idea what you're doing, or you're gonna have to start learning all over again when you have bills to pay and things to look after? No, so it's just not ideal. You really have to learn trading for yourself so you can be successful at this game. Now, 6 months in, I landed upon support and demand, and this was after trying indicators, EAs, those people that will promise you that if you join their group and stuff, you continue to make money. I tried every single one, but none of them worked for me. So I eventually wanted to learn something new, and I came across supply and demand on YouTube. Now, this was when things started to fall into shape a little bit, because I was able to comprehend supply and demand. It made sense for me. It was straightforward. It wasn't too complicated, because I was looking for a strategy that doesn't mean I'll be on the market for too long, because I personally can't stand watching my trade go on for hours. It's just not my personality at all. So supply and demand made sense. It was very easy to explain to other people as well, which is one crucial thing. If I can't explain the strategy, it means I don't get it. So I needed to make sure I understood the strategy properly. So literally from that time, all I did was eat, sleep, and breathe the charts. I was just learning and learning, watching videos, every single trading video out there, by anyone I was watching it. And one important thing is that I was lucky that back in my teenage years, I actually saved a lot of money. This was what helped me have so much time to actually put into the charts, because if I didn't, this whole process would have been much harder, because you have to work, then after work you have to come back and practice, and you miss opportunities. So I saved a ton of money when I was young, so this was the money that I was using because I wasn't really working. So although I was spending a lot of it, at least I was able to spend time, quality time, actually learning trading. So eventually I moved from YouTuber to YouTuber, learning. Literally, I'll pick one, watch all their videos on supply and demand, move on to the next person, binge watch everything else until they have nothing else to teach me. And I did this over and over and over again. But I eventually came across Doyle, and that was who I was able to now settle with. He eventually almost covered everything that I needed to know. And that was when things started to make a lot more sense. This was when I learned about gaps, and this was when I started to actually backtest. Now, funny enough, I did not backtest for literally about 6 months, which is crazy, because if you don't backtest, you almost have no confidence and you don't know your strategy at all. So literally I learned about backtesting 6 months in. So the first 6 months was just almost a pointless waste of time. So for about the next 2 months, all I kept doing was backtesting the strategy over and over and over again, whilst actually trading prop firms, because I just learned about prop firms somewhat, around the early stage of the year. So my aim was literally to pass a prop firm challenge, and I just did not give up on it. I failed so many. When I say so many, I mean so many. But I just kept going. That's the thing. It's like, I don't think a day passed when I failed a prop firm and then I bought another one. In fact, not an hour passed. As soon as I fail one, I buy a new one. Fail one, buy a new one. But one thing I did at the start was that I was buying 25k prop firm accounts, which is kind of expensive. Don't do that. You want to start with the cheapest you can, probably 5k. I believe that's the cheapest. So you want to start with the cheapest because you can keep affording them. Now eventually around July 2023, things started to make a lot more sense. This was when I learned about risk management. This was when I was able to at least pass phase 1. Then I might struggle with phase 2 a little bit, but things were moving forward. It was just now about psychology and just not being greedy. Those were like those 2 big things I struggled with. Just not being greedy, sticking to my plans and my rule every single time, especially sticking to my take profit every single time, because times will happen where the price would move, everything will move exactly how I want it to, but now I'm being greedy and I want to hold longer. And then because I'm scalping on the 5 minute, it can take 2 seconds for the price to literally go from profit and now I'm back in drawdown. So that was one thing I struggled with a lot, but eventually I was able to somewhat overcome this and learn my lesson over and over. That's when things started to make sense. So in October, I was able to pass my first prop firm challenge, and literally a month later in November, I was able to pass my second prop firm challenge. So now I'm officially funded. But now I'm going to tell you exactly what I would do if I had to start all of this all over again, so you know the exact path to follow, things you shouldn't do that will just waste a ton of time and money. So if you follow this, I can almost promise you that your whole process would be a lot smoother, way smoother than mine. So the first thing I recommend you do is learn the basics of trading. Just basics, bare basics, which is candlesticks. You want to learn about why the chart moves how it does. You want to learn about pip size. You want to learn about lot sizes. Just the basics, just to understand that what you're looking at as soon as you jump on TraderView. Now once you understand that thoroughly, now there are 4 things that you want to master properly. Just 4 things. You want to make sure that you have the hang of this before you move on to anything else. Now you can learn these things on YouTube for free, especially on this channel. I have most of these content already out for you, so make sure you do watch those videos exactly after this one. Or feel free to join Sully's Academy down in the description below, so you can go from 0 to funded in the easiest way possible by learning exactly what you have to know to become funded. Now the first thing and the most important of all is risk management. Risk management is the key. If you can't manage your risk, no matter how much money you make in a year, you can make 1 to 500. If your risk is horrible, now you can lose that 1 to 500 in your next trade. You have to know risk management. Risk management is what's going to keep you in this game for the long run, because trading is not about making money today. It's about making money today and doing the same thing tomorrow and doing the same thing again and again and again. If you're going to be a full-time trader, you have to be consistent in this game. Now, the second thing you want to know is trends. This is just knowing exactly how the market is moving, upwards and downwards. This is pretty easy and straightforward, but you want to know trends because most of the time you want to be trading with the trend most of the time. And you want to know trends simply by price action, not using any indicators or anything, just knowing it by looking at it and just seeing how price is moving. The third thing you want to know is fair value gaps. Fair value gaps was a huge big deal for me. Once I knew about this, game changer, the quality of sales I started to take was just a lot better, because you start to understand that price move to fill gaps. Gaps exist on the market and price has to fill it at some point. So this gives you an idea of just where price is going to go most of the time. So learn fair value gaps, learn it. It's very, very important. Now the fourth thing is market structure. Market structure is basically like breaker structure, knowing when there's a change of character, just knowing how price moves and what direction it is going. So this kind of links in with trends as well. You want to learn market structure so you'll know exactly when there's a break of structure, so you can enter the trade and you know the market is going upwards or downwards. Now once you perfect these things, this would almost help any strategy out there for trading, and this is what's gonna make you better than 95% of traders. I promise you, you're going to be better than most people straight away, because this is what takes long to actually master. So now once you've actually done these things, it's left to actually mastering psychology, because that is kind of a battle between you and yourself. Master psychology, you're going to learn this by simply putting time on the chart. You have to just show up day after day after day, trade day after day. And this isn't really on demo. I recommend being on demo for maybe about a week, but you want to spend time on the live markets, because this is when your money's on the line. This is when you're going to see exactly how price is moving, and this is where the real experience is going to come in. If you've been profitable for about a week or maybe a month on demo, then I can say that you can now start taking those prop firm challenges. Now you're somewhat ready, so you don't have to blow 20, 30, 40 accounts before you become funded. You want to make sure that you're ready, and you will know that you're ready once you're able to at least be profitable for about a week or two. I would recommend you start with a 5k, and once you're funded, I recommend that you only risk about 0.25 to actually 0.5% per trade idea. The reason for this is that you want that 5k account to go as far as possible. You never want to lose that your first account basically, so you want to keep that there as a backup and use that 5k, use the profits from that to then get a 50k account. From the 50k you get 100k and the 200k, and that is when you can tell your mom that you've officially made it.